Let's talk about 3 different aspects of GLP-1 medications today. A lot of videos give the same old advice, and these are 3 topics that I don't hear talked about anywhere near enough. When you speak to people who've been hugely successful on GLP-1 medications, you'll often find that they fall into 2 camps. You'll have those people who go on the medication, it helps them to reduce their food intake, then they lose weight and they feel so much better for that weight loss. And then you have a second group of people who go on the medication and the medication itself makes them feel better. And then they almost lose weight because they feel better. And these are 2 distinctly separate groups. And it's interesting when you talk to people how many fall into one of these 2 categories. In that first category, often people need to titrate up to those higher doses like we see in clinical trials to really get those benefits. And in the second group, some people respond very quickly to very low doses. So you can't compare your journey to somebody else's. So often I'll speak to people who say they're putting in maximum effort and their weight loss is really slow and Joe down the road is losing tons and hardly making any effort at all. But the outcome isn't always proportional to the effort. That's a really important point to make. And we all have different causes for obesity. We don't have great ways of differentiating those out yet. So you can't compare your journey to somebody else's. What you should be focusing on when it comes to your journey is, are you heading in the right direction? You don't get to determine the speed, your body will decide that, but are you heading towards your goal? Are you seeing that weight come off even if it's really slow? And the second point is, how do you feel? Because if you don't feel good, if you are doing things that make you feel unwell or off, that is not the right step for you. And you should be enjoying your life right the way through, not just after you finished your weight loss journey. If I only got to enjoy my life after I'd stopped trying to lose weight, I wouldn't have enjoyed anything up until the last few weeks. That is not a sustainable way to live. You need to be doing things that actively feel good in the moment and for the long term. But really taking your time and letting your body do what's right by it is more likely to get you there than trying to force something that you ultimately have to abandon. When it comes to stopping GLP-1 medications, anyone who tells you they have a guaranteed method that you can stop it and you'll keep the weight off is either lying to you or misinformed, because we still don't fully understand how these medications are so effective. Some will say they're just appetite suppressants, but we've had lots of medications that suppress appetite in the past. We've never seen weight loss like we're seeing right now, so there's clearly more to it. And as I mentioned before, people respond differently to actually taking these medications, which likely reflects that we all have underlying different physiology and different reasons that we're overweight in the first place. And maybe the way that we respond will at some point predict whether or not we are likely to be able to stop the medication and successfully stay off it. Now, we have to remember there is no controversy around taking GLP-1s long term for things like type 2 diabetes. It's only when we're talking about using them long term for weight loss that there is so much drama. And in the main, that's because of the cost. The cost of these medications is so incredibly high that so many people won't be able to take them long term because they can't afford it. But taking them long term and forever or not at all are not the only 2 options. And it may be that some people in the long term take them for a few months and then come off them for a year or so and then take them for a few months. That might be the third way that people end up using them as an effective reset. People talk about them feeling like a reset right now. It's like it's reset my body to 20 years ago. You hear that quite a lot. So maybe that will be the other way that people could use them. But again, we want studies on, is it okay to be going on and off them? Could this make it more likely to irritate the pancreas or something else? We just don't have that information right now. And so everyone is playing around with doses and ways of doing things and going on and off them because they're not sure if they can afford them or not. And then Eli Lilly are not helping anyone by whacking up the prices. Who knows? But when it comes to long-term management, we don't have the answers. It is play it by ear right now. It is what can you afford, what feels good for your body as well. And ultimately remember that some people will be able to come off these medications and maintain their success. Usually when you go on a diet, the big worry is, will this work? And going on a GLP-1 is no different. But then it works for a lot of people. And for the first time they go, actually, what's my goal? I don't actually know what I want to achieve. I just didn't want to be fat. So when you join weight loss clubs, they used to say on week 1, what's your target weight? And you'd write down a random number. 20 years ago, I weighed 9 stone and I felt good then. So I'm just going to write that. But actually, your body composition will have changed. You might have had children. You might have had illnesses. You might have done loads of sport and now have more muscle. That number means nothing. What we should be targeting is a specific lifestyle, which is eating the foods that we enjoy and enough of them and having loads of energy and feeling really good and being able to do everything that we want to do. And a number will result from that. And actually the lifestyle is what you're living. The number's 20 seconds on the scale every day. So we should be focusing on lifestyle, but that requires real support, individualized support, which a lot of these clubs, which are just get numbers through the door, tick boxes, really don't support. But actually, let's change our focus away from the scale and onto what we're doing day to day, because that's the bit we're actually living. For many people on a GLP-1 medication, they'll find they titrate their dose up over time, they modify their lifestyle, and eventually their weight plateaus. And as long as they're living their happiest, healthiest life and they feel great, it doesn't matter if they weigh themselves one day and their weight doesn't correspond to a BMI of 20 to 25. Wherever your weight lands, if you are living your best life. But there are some people on a GLP-1 who say they struggle to stop losing weight. It is addictive losing weight. The validation is amazing. The way that you can evolve and change, that progression is such a big thing. Also, though, we need to bear in mind that in a population of obese people, you will have more people with eating disorders than in a healthy weight population. And this may also play a role. Many people who are losing weight will tell you, I never feel thin enough, or I always think my body's bigger than it is, or there's always bits of me that I want to improve no matter how thin I get. And I've even heard people say, you're never going to be happy with your body, are you? Yeah, it's very unusual for somebody to think that their body is absolutely perfect. All of us tend to have bits of our body we don't like, that we'd want to improve, that we'd like to change, but it's a completely different thing if that wrecks your life. And if you feel your body isn't how you need it to be to live your best life no matter what you do, or you feel like you need to do unhealthy stuff to achieve that, that's when you need to be seeking out some medical advice and support. But if you are somebody who just feels like, I don't know what to do with myself, I'm really enjoying the weight loss, I don't want to stop because it makes me feel so good, you channel that energy into something that is going to be productive. So for me, I decided to actively stop losing weight and instead go running because I wanted to get cardiovascularly fitter. I like doing sport. I wanted to do something that I thought I couldn't do. I like the mental challenge of that. I get the validation because people cheer me on from it. I absolutely love it. For other people, living your happiest, healthiest life might be playing a load of computer games or doing stuff that in the past you didn't have the headspace to do, or that you didn't feel you could indulge in. Whatever it is, just make sure that you're using your new headspace that you've got free from no longer having to think about weight loss and focus on that to do something that you actively want to do and that brings pleasure to your life. I mentioned on another platform that a red flag that I have for people when they talk to me about their weight loss is if they say, I've lost all my friends in the process of losing weight, because that to me indicates somebody who's had friends in their life who, when you have good things, they don't cheer you on. And so it's unlikely that their weight loss is the first time these people have been negative with them. And so if you are somebody who has lower self-esteem, giving you a medication in a society that thinks being thinner is more virtuous, that's a recipe for disaster if you're looking for that validation. So I say red flag there, not in that the person's a red flag, but a red flag for really making sure this person has mental health support and can find that comfort and confidence in themselves, which can be as life-changing, fixing eating disorders, fixing body image issues, fixing how you view yourself, can be just as, if not more life-changing than actually doing the weight loss. Because how we perceive the world is much more powerful than actually what's going on. Because that's how the world works. So these are some of the more obscure things that we don't tend to talk about as much when it comes to GLP-1s. Often if you speak to healthcare workers, they'll give you the tick box of going through the side effects and this will suppress your appetite, which isn't always very helpful when you have all this wider context, all the implications of coming from obesity in the first place. And so it's just nice to talk about some of this other stuff. Now, I haven't been filming over the last few weeks. I'm going to explain why in my next video. I have some big developments I want to share, some big exciting news, and that will be coming very shortly. That's going to be my 12-month Mounjaro update, because next week I will have been on Mounjaro for a year. So that is all coming very soon. Thank you for sticking with me. If you've any other obscure points that I didn't make in today's video, do share them in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.